Hello and welcome back to the Real Music Talks. Today's guest is Caitlin May, back again from the last time we spoke. How you doing, Caitlin? You okay?
I'm doing really well. Thank you so much for having me back. I'm excited to talk to you again.
No worries. We don't have that many repeat guests, but yours was really good, so it's great to have you back. So it'd be good to hear, what have you been up to since we last spoke? What has like the last kind of 2 year journey look like for you?
It has been a whirlwind, to say the least, but in the best way possible. So I think I probably told you last time we talked that I actually learned to play guitar during lockdown because I wanted to learn a new skill and I'd been putting it off for a little while. Everybody kept saying you should learn to play. And I think more than anything, there was a little bit of fear there just because I'd never attempted to learn an instrument before. So it was very new to me. But I felt that I couldn't keep the excuses up during lockdown. It was a good time to try something new. And I fell in love with guitar. It just helped so much with songwriting too, because the process was so much quicker, being able to pick up a guitar any time of the day, wherever you are, write a song and play it on stage the same day if you wanted to. Whereas prior to that, I would write a cappella and there would be a melody and lyrics, but I'd have to take it to the studio and get it produced. And it would be quite a long process before I could actually take it to stage or share it online with anyone. So I'm definitely very grateful for, you know, what guitar has offered me, and it's so much more freeing and inspiring to just be able to pick it up whenever you feel like it. I've also been doing a lot of traveling, a lot of releasing music and touring and recording. So I'm having a blast. I'm actually tuning in right now from Nashville. I'll be here until the end of the month, and then I move here permanently in July. So I'm excited for the next chapter.
We touched on it a little bit before, but talk us through like why you've moved over there. I mean, it must be quite difficult to do that, right?
It's definitely a difficult journey just with visas and trying to figure everything out and make it all feasible. But I visited Nashville, not the United States, but Nashville for the first time in May of last year. And I already knew I was going to love it here in Music City. I don't think I had prepared myself for just how much I would love it. And since then, since May of last year, I have been here in town 4 times. This is my fourth visit, my fourth tour and recording here in Music City. And so July will be the permanent move, and I'll be starting university here in town at Belmont. So I'm really excited to just dive in and not have to fly back to the UK so soon. I'm excited for what Music City has to offer on a full-time basis.
So you're going in to study a course at university. Is that a music related course? Talk me through that as well.
Yes, so I will be doing commercial music focusing on voice and maybe a music marketing minor too, because I would love to delve into the marketing side a little bit more, which is kind of more where I'm uncertain because things are changing all the time and social media platforms are changing. And developing so quickly as well. I know TikTok is a huge part of the music industry now, whereas even just a few years ago it wasn't. But I think a lot of things changed during lockdown too, because we moved online. Um, Everything kind of became a platform, I think. And I'm grateful for that because that's when my fan base grew the most. And I think the most opportunities arose during that time. So I'm very grateful, even though none of us would have expected it or wanted it and wished for it. But I think that a lot of artists made the most of that time.
Makes sense. I mean, it's like you said about being able to play the guitar earlier. It just enables you to get to the end goal quicker. You can get your music heard by more people on these platforms quicker than ever before. And it feels like, you know, it's kind of like two-sided thing. You've got like social media where you can just put your stuff out there, and then you've also got your live gigs, which now seem to be more special because they're more of like a experience. And I feel like people are going both those directions in a more extreme way, I guess.
It's so true. I mean, I still do weekly live streams, and I started that series during lockdown, and I don't want to stop it now because so many of my followers and listeners live all across the world, and they're really spread out, so we can't all be in one room just yet. Hopefully in the future we'll all be able to be in one room together and really share that experience. But I also think that I used to take performing live for granted a little bit, because it was just so normal for artists to play live. And then when COVID happened and we were in lockdowns and there were so many restrictions, I think we all moved online and we did make the most of it. But I think we definitely missed that connection playing live. And now that we can do both, like you said, it's the best of both worlds. And I think you get to connect with people in a totally different way, and it is more special just actually being able to meet with people and share the music all in one room, and dance and sing and really just be in tune, I think, with each other. It's electric.
Completely agree. How do you manage the relationship with fans? Like, is it all through social media? Do you speak to fans yourself? It'd be good to understand that, actually. I think it might help some people.
Yeah, I definitely speak to my listeners online and offline. I love when people come to shows in person, and not only do they sing along, which is so special to me and magical, that people will sing words that I wrote along with me. But online, when I play my live streams, I try to answer all the comments, and sometimes there are a lot of comments, and if I can't answer them live whilst I'm actually streaming, I'll go back after the stream and answer in the comments. And I think it's so important to actually keep that connection going and just, I think, grow our relationship, because my dreamers just mean the world to me. I think it's so important to me that they connect with my music. And I don't just write songs for myself, even though songs that I've written have helped me through some of my darkest times and also share some of my most incredible times and happiest times. But it's important to me that those words and lyrics mean something to them as well. And I think it's nice that we get to, share our stories, whether they are happy or sad. It just, music brings people together.
You mentioned earlier, obviously, that you picked up guitar. It'd be good to hear how has your songwriting process developed, and in particular, maybe like talk about how you write lyrics and how that might have changed, and then also how the guitar's impacted it as well.
So I used to write lyrics and a melody, and that would be it. That would be the structure of my song, and I would take it to the studio and kind of explain what I wanted to the producer musically, and we would go from there. But it was a much longer process than being able to just pick up a guitar and, strum some chords and write the lyrics and melody kind of all at the same time. And I think the song really comes together much quicker that way. And musically, you have much more of an idea what your song is going to sound like when you then take it to the studio. Being able to send an acoustic memo to a producer or even just play it live for them in the studio is, I think there's just much more of an understanding there. And I definitely feel more connected to the songs when I write them acoustically, which I never thought I would say, because I didn't know how quickly I would pick up guitar and whether I would fall in love with playing an instrument or not, but I really did. And I don't know what I would do without my guitar now. And I've still got so much left to learn, technically, because I've only been playing for a couple of years. I learned in lockdown, and I've had some virtual lessons, but mostly I've picked things up from YouTube. And I think just being in the songwriting community and hearing other artists and really picking up on their perspectives, I think that's what's so magical about music. There is no right or wrong. It's just how you feel in the moment. And I think that's what comes across the most when I hear some of my favorite artists playing songs they've written, and they feel connected to what they're singing. You can really tell.
Yeah, I've discussed this with a couple of guests recently. It's kind of like finding your authentic voice as an artist. Because like when you start out, you do kind of emulate and copy others, and kind of that's how you get inspiration. But as you kind of develop and grow, you start to carve out your own niche, your own sound, and add your own personality and flavor to the music that you're playing.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the scariest part is when you start writing songs that are truly about your life, and are very deep, which I've definitely gone in that direction a lot more since I've started playing guitar. And some of my songs I've written, and when I've played them back, I've thought, is this maybe opening up too much? But I realize now I don't think there is such a thing when it comes to songwriting, because music is so subjective, and what it means to me might not be what it means to somebody else who hears the song. And I think, again, that's really important, that it doesn't always have to be your story that they connect to. It can be what the lyrics mean to them. And I think that that's really cool.
100% agree. It's great that you've got that perspective at the age that you're at, because you're still fairly new to the industry, right? And you've still got a long career ahead of you. But like having that perspective now is amazing. It'd be good to hear about how you approach networking. You know, you're moving to Nashville. It's you don't really know anyone. You know, you've got to try and make contacts. What do you do there?
So I think, although networking was a big thing during lockdown when we all moved online, it was organizations, radio stations, music lovers in general, other artists and songwriters. We connected with each other a lot during that time. We built communities that we hadn't actually been a part of prior to COVID. But now that live shows are back up and running, it's so great to network in person and meet people, and just share our ideas and our perspectives with other artists and music lovers. I Networking is one of my favorite parts. I can honestly say. But Nashville is such a friendly place, and some of my experiences back in the UK, I have to say, more when I was in high school, were not great. So I left school early. My parents took me out because I was going through a really difficult time, and I was homeschooled, which kind of came out of the blue and was a very lonely time. And I love to socialize with people. So that was probably some of my darkest times. And because I came out of high school and I was being bullied, I didn't really have many friends. So my social circle was quite small. And since coming to Nashville for the first time in May of last year, I have met so many incredible people who are more than just friends and more than just dreamers. They are family to me now. And I feel so safe and surrounded by love coming here in July. I don't even have an ounce of fear. I just think I'm surrounded by the most incredible people, and I'm grateful to know them and that they want to be a part of my life as much as I want to be a part of theirs.
That's amazing to have so many like great people around you that support you, because like we said earlier, it's a big change, like moving to a new place like that. But you
Yeah,
seem to be doing well, considering.
definitely. I think my parents are freaking out a lot more than me. Um, I don't know, maybe I'll freak out when I get here, but I can't see it because it's just truly a magical place here, and I don't feel alone. I've definitely felt alone in the past, and it's not this. I feel complete when I'm in Nashville.
Amazing. So it feels like it's the start of something. And I know you've got a new single coming out tomorrow, is that right?
Yes, I do. It's called Seasons Change, and it's actually um, the name of the full EP too, which won't come out until the summer. But I'm excited to celebrate my first release in Nashville, because every other time I've released, I've been in the UK, and I'm actually having a launch party here tonight in Nashville at a venue called the Lost Paddy. So there are going to be so many friendly, familiar faces all in one room, which I'm really excited for, because it's not every day that you get to share and celebrate something like this with so many people all in one room.
Talk to me about the journey of like writing those songs, recording them, and getting that release out. Maybe the single and the EP, to be fair.
So far, I have recorded 3 of 4 songs that will be on this EP. And the last song I have started recording and will finish before I head back to the UK this time around. But Seasons Change, this single, is actually a true story, and it's about my ex best friend. So she was kind of my last connection to my time in high school, and I thought we would be best friends forever. And if any of you guys have heard my debut EP, Perspective, that was about my sister, and we don't have a great relationship. And this best friend that this current single is about kind of made up for the lack of relationship I had with my sister. And I truly thought she was my soul sister. I thought we were going to be in each other's lives forever. And it was heartbreaking when I realized that wasn't going to be the case. And I still wish her all the best. And I hope all the dreams that she shared with me still come true. Um, and I'm just sad that we can't continue to be a part of each other's journeys. But I think things happen for a reason, and it inspired this song. She still inspires me to this day, and I hope she's doing better than ever now. But the rest of the EP is kind of a journey from back then until now, and it's about self-discovery and finding yourself and learning to love yourself too, because I think that's not always easy. And when I was kind of going through the height of the period of time when I was being bullied in high school, I kind of said to my parents that it was almost difficult to look in the mirror and see somebody that I liked, because I used to ask my parents, maybe it's me, maybe I'm defective and I'm not likable. But I think everybody goes through rough patches in their lives, and it's so important to be able to walk the path on your own, because although you won't always have to, there may come times where you do have to, and you need to know that you're capable of doing that.
Agreed. I think, most people go through a couple of transitions in their life where like new leaves are unturned, or they go for new opportunities, or they start something completely different, or they go in a completely different direction. And that happens to people at different points. Some people have like a midlife crisis, people say, right? Like later on in life, they suddenly find their calling and their passion. It's like, wow. So, that can appear in life in loads of different ways. And as an artist, when you're channeling that energy, it just comes out in your music.
Yeah, and I truly believe that seasons do change for a reason. And sometimes when you're in right in the middle of it, you think this is a disaster, and this couldn't get any worse. But even during those times, the only way is up, and eventually you'll realize why all those things happened, and they lead to where you are today. And I wouldn't change anything about my past, whether I'm talking about some of my favorite times and some of the memories that are core memories now, or whether I'm talking about the most difficult times that I've been through. I think they're all a part of the journey. They make you stronger, and they make you realize that you are capable of doing hard things.
Certainly agree. So talk me through your like future plan now, maybe. So, you're moving to Nashville. What does the next like 5, 10 years look like at the moment in your mind?
I mean, I hope that the next 5, 10 years are going to lead to stadium world tours. That is my big dream, and something that I would love to make happen. And I know that a lot of people are afraid of dreaming big, and maybe if they don't dream big, they don't want you to dream big. But I think it's so important to chase those stars, because passion is one of the most important things to have in life. I love waking up every morning and knowing that there are endless possibilities. Every day brings endless possibilities and 100 new song ideas, and ideas to tour and release a new album. And I love being creative, and I would never want to give that up. So I think when I move here in July, I would love to start by touring some of the states that I've never been to, and some of the states that I have been to, and revisit some of those beautiful places and see some familiar faces again. But someday, hopefully someday soon, a world tour is definitely in my on the books.
We've already got fans all around the world, right? So it's definitely going to be possible.
A dreamer world tour.
So, it's all amazing, like all very positive. Talk me through some of the struggles you've had in the last couple of years with the transitions that you made and some of the difficulties that you faced.
I think one of the biggest things is that I always knew that I wanted to move to the States. It's been a plan of mine for as long as I can remember. I can't even tell you how many times I've tried to get my parents to just upend their lives, move to the States, and just never look back. And I think more so during the difficult times, I felt like that because I have made some of the greatest memories of my life here in the States, not just Nashville. We had a house in Florida from when I was 2 years old. And the people that I've met here in America are just incredible. And they are still a huge part of my life to this day. So when I was going through difficult times in the UK with my sister, because growing up, we had a very toxic relationship. It was really turbulent and hard, I think, for such a young child to understand. We have a huge age gap. And for the longest time, I just couldn't understand why she didn't love me the way that I loved her. And that's if she loves me at all. I haven't figured that out yet. And maybe one day we will. And again, then going into high school and having a really difficult time, I knew where I wanted to be, and it definitely wasn't where I was at the time. So some of the most difficult transitions have been traveling to the States so frequently because money wise, that's not always the easiest, flying back and forth constantly. And eventually we sold our house in Florida, so we didn't actually have a permanent base. So we'd be staying in hotels. Right now we're staying with friends. And then when I move here in July, I'll be staying on campus. And obviously that's a more permanent thing. So I'm excited for that. And I think all the struggles have led to this moment in time. So I'm grateful for them too.
And I guess what do you think could happen like going forward? I mean, I've been to university. It's quite a difficult time because you're making new friends, you're in a new environment. I guess what are you worried about and what you're excited about would be interesting to hear.
Right now, maybe this is not a good thing because I guess you should try to think of the flip side of the coin a little bit. But I have zero worries. It's beautiful here. I visited the campus for the first time on the weekend, and I have not I seriously have not met friendlier people. Everybody just wants the best for you, and you want the best for everyone. It feels like you've known them forever. And it truly does feel like we're just old friends and we've only just met. Everybody waves you onto campus, and although the campus is huge, it feels like a family gathering. So I'm excited to get started there and to be there permanently, because my biggest concern is having to go back and miss out on all the incredible times between now and July.
That's fair. There might be a reason why they need to go back, right? So it's a fair thing to think about. And I'm gonna go turn it around to someone else now. And I think we covered this before, but I'm interested to hear like if your answer's similar or different.
Yeah.
So like if a young musician was starting out today and they're looking to make a career in music, what advice would you give them? And maybe try and think of like the top 3 or 5 pieces of advice.
So I cannot remember for the life of me what I said before, but I, I think the most important part is to chase your dreams. Don't give up, because it's not always going to be easy. Sometimes it's going to be really, really hard, but those moments are the moments that make you. I mean, they're the most inspiring moments, and they also teach you to believe in yourself, because before you can ask anybody to believe in you, you need to have a core belief in yourself. You need to know that, you, like I said, you can look yourself in the mirror, you like the person that you are. I think it's also very beneficial to be kind and warm and welcoming to everybody else, because the way that you want to be treated is definitely the way you should treat everybody else, and you should always lead with kindness. It's great to kind of learn from other artists. I think that's really important, and just never lose the passion, because if you lose the passion, then that is the sole purpose of why we do what we do. We just always lead with passion.
That's great advice. If you don't have passion, you're not going to be able to pursue it. And we know that the music industry is pretty tough at times, so you're going to need to have that to drive it forward, right?
Yeah, definitely. It isn't always easy, but I do think as long as you surround yourself with incredible people, which I am lucky to say that I have found my people on this journey, and I can't wait to meet people who are going to be part of the journey for the rest of my life. But everybody that I've met up until now is so incredible, so helpful. And it's good to have people where on your bad days, they are going to pick up the pieces and be there and support you. And just, not every day is going to be a bad day. Sometimes you wake up and you think, okay, I'm having a really bad day. And then, you make yourself some toast for breakfast, you drop it on the floor and you're like, this is a disaster. I'm having a breakdown right now. But there's always going to be those people who are a part of your circle who are going to be there to support you and cheer you on, even on your worst days. So find those people and never let them go.
Nice. I love it. And I know you mentioned earlier with your course, you're going to be doing a bit of like marketing and business. You said you were interested in learning more about that. Like, tell me more. Why?
I think nowadays, with how quickly social media is growing and how that is a big part of our platform, it's important to just know some of the basics, just have some of that knowledge. And when I say the basics, even the basics can be pretty complicated. I mean, I don't know if that's the case for everybody. It's certainly the case for me. And the minute I think I've learned how to use something and how to utilize a tool, it changes or they update it. And I'm like, you are kidding me. But I think it's so important to just have a basic knowledge of, the tools that we utilize or that our team utilizes. It's just good to be able to understand it to a certain extent. And by no means do I know all the answers right now. And hopefully that's what I'm going to learn when I start at Belmont in the fall. The music side is the fun side for me. The creative side is the part that I'm passionate about, but I would just like to kind of have more of an idea of the online side, the business side, the marketing, because it is a huge part of it. It's 50% of it.
Completely agree. And I think sometimes people forget, like there's all these algorithm changes, there's all these systems, there's all these platforms that you can use that are always going to be changing. But at the end of the day, like the core piece of content that you're creating is what matters. And
Yeah,
that's what
and
people come to you for. And that's what is going to get out on any platform, regardless of what algorithm is out this week or what system hack you can use to get more likes or whatever.
yeah, and typically if you can understand the core, then you'll be golden. I know that there are things that we have to learn and we have to develop along the way because, like you said, things change, the algorithm changes, but the core typically stays the same. So at least you'll just be able to build on that. You'll never have to start from scratch.
Yeah, it's at the end of the day, it's about defining yourself as an artist and then like what's your message? What's the brand? Like what are you representing too? Because it's not
Yeah,
just about the music, it's like as a person and an artist, what are you representing? Who are you there for?
yeah, definitely. And I think despite the algorithm changes and all these updates, I think people follow you for a reason. They connect with you, you connect with them, and you're creating a community or an army, as I like to say. And that will always be there, despite all the updates and the things that change along the way. The people, that's the most important part because that's the heart of what you do, and that will always be there and will only grow.
Completely agree. So Caitlin, it's been a great conversation. It's been great to connect again. Another open slate for you at the end here. Is there anything else you'd like to leave the audience with?
I think for me, the biggest thing, I know I've already said it, but I try to advocate this wherever I can. Just follow your dreams. Never think they're too big. They're not too big. If you can dream them, you can do them. So just keep chasing them. I always think it's important to remember and just keep in the back of your mind that if you give up today, tomorrow could have been your day. So never give up. Never give up. And aside from that, if you want to join my army of dreamers, then you can find me across all social media at Caitlin May Music. And my website is www.caitlinmay.com. You can find me across all music platforms too at Caitlin May. And yeah, please keep an eye out for the EP, which will be out this summer. And if you're in Nashville, and you live here or you visit a lot, then I'll be moving in July. And between now and then, I'll be playing shows back in the UK. So if you're in the UK, please look out for tour dates.
Awesome. And we'll put like the links to the single when it comes out tomorrow and also the EP in the YouTube
Thank,
description below this video.
thank you.
But yeah, thanks, Kate. It's been great.
It's been awesome to speak to you again. Thank you so much.
Nice one. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.